It's me, Sarah. Look, I'm at Helen's and she's really, she's not very well. I'll explain everything when I get in. I'll be as quick as I can. Well done, sweetheart. You all ready then?
I don't want to go to school.
Get away. You said it was your best day, art and PE. And Amy's mum's taking you to school, so you can chat to Amy all the way. Bit of gossip. Know what you girls are like. And I've made your favourite sandwich. Tuna and ketchup. Now, you be a good girl then and have a lovely time at Amy's after school.
Can I say goodbye to Mummy?
She's asleep now. Let's leave her properly.
Is she still angry with me?
She's not angry with you. She's angry because of all the bad things that have happened to her. And it's made her sad. And sometimes, when grown-ups get sad, they get a bit poorly. She'll be better soon, okay?
Okay.
Come here.
Goodness sake, Mac, we're selling the house, not putting it up for adoption. Is Sarah not in?
She rang saying she'll be late. Helen's not well, I think, so she's running helping out.
Oh, not that I'm too surprised.
Helen came back far too soon after Jack's death, if you want my opinion. Still, a few days R&R could be just what she needs.
Yeah, Sarah knows we need her here, though. Right, thank you, bye.
Still no sign of Sarah?
No, not yet.
You called Helen?
Yes, of course I have. No reply.
Helen's 10 o'clock. Have you got some test results for me?
Marchison?
Edwina Marchison.
Yeah, why'd you ask? Thanks.
No reason, no reason.
Oh, at least we'll have one satisfied customer today.
If you'd be good enough to let Dr. Woodson know that his 10 o'clock appointment has arrived.
There's no need. I'm here. I am Dr. Woodson.
I see.
Please, take a seat. There's not a problem, I hope.
I'm merely accustomed to doctors who are slightly more formally attired.
Like Dr. Thompson, you mean?
I suppose so. Although even she displays an inappropriate amount of flesh for a professional medical practitioner, in my opinion.
Well, that is one thing you can't accuse me of. Miss Marchison, you'll be pleased to hear that your test results are back and they're negative.
I beg your pardon?
I said the results from the...
No, I heard what you said, Doctor. I'm not deaf. Merely incredulous. You sure you've read them properly?
Yes.
If you don't mind, I'd like to see for myself. Normal chest X-ray, normal ECG. These are ludicrous.
How do you mean?
Don't mistake me for a layman, Dr. Woodson. I've 40 years nursing experience and was running my own cardiac ward when you were still running around in pigtails. So I'm more than qualified to spot a simple case of arterial stenosis, particularly when I'm the one who's suffering from it.
Ronnie Woodson.
Hi, Ronnie, it's Ben. I called your office, but they said you were in court.
Yeah?
Well, I thought I might come down.
Because of Andy Beeson?
Yeah, well, it's a trial today, and I thought...
No, hold on a moment. I'm not here because of Andy Beeson. And it's not a trial, it's a sentencing hearing. So it's not a question of guilty or not guilty, merely how long. And given his form, I'd bet £1 to a shilling he's going to get 3 years.
Yeah, but what if he changes his plea and gets off with a suspended sentence or something?
Won't happen. Can't happen. Look, if it makes you feel any better, I'll keep my eye on things down here and I'll call you if there's any news, okay? All right, look, I've got to go. Relax, Ben. Let me do what I'm paid for. Concentrate on healing the sick. I'll call you later. Bye.
It's clearly a mix-up, of course. It's the only explanation.
Miss Murchison, it is unlikely that the hospital have made a mistake.
If you've worked in hospitals as long as I have, young woman, you would know that mistakes are not merely likely, but to be expected. It's all there in front of you. Exertion-related chest pains, breathlessness, the family history, all of which together render these so-called test results entirely inconsistent, wouldn't you say?
If it is angina that you're suffering from, yes.
Meaning?
Meaning that maybe we should be looking at another possible cause for your symptoms. Have you had any undue stress recently?
Stress? Spare me that old chestnut, please. I know a doctor's platitude when I hear one. Why didn't you say what you're thinking? That it's all in my head.
Oh, Miss Murchison.
No, woman. No doubt you think I'm senile.
Please, sit down, Miss Murchison. You misunderstand.
I have no intention of staying here and listening to this. I find your manner extremely patronising, and to be perfectly frank, have some reservations about your competence. You leave me no choice but to seek a second opinion from Dr. Maguire.
Please, Miss Murchison, I really didn't mean...
Or at least has the advantage of looking like a doctor.
Very smart. Doing something special.
What's that supposed to mean?
That you look nice. And are you going somewhere special?
Sorry, I'm a bit edgy. Beeson's being sentenced today. I know what you're thinking, but why shouldn't I go if I want to go? You know, it's open to the public.
Yeah, but you're not just any member of the public, are you? I don't know, it might look a bit odd, like you were rubbing his nose in it or something.
Well, it's not about that. You know, he burgled my house. He hurt you. Is it so strange that I want to see him get what's coming to him?
Maybe not if you were just the victim in all this, but it's more complicated than that. But Ben, if I were you, I would just steer well clear.
Excuse me, please. I'm fine. Are you sure you're okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
Hello, Mill Health Centre.
This is Edwina Murchison.
Oh, yes. Dr. Maguire told me that you would be calling. He says that he's fully booked this afternoon, but he's free to see you after evening surgery if you'd like to pop round then.
Actually, I'd like Dr. Maguire to call round here at his earliest possible convenience.
Doctors don't make house calls unless it's an emergency, I'm afraid.
Young lady, I'm perfectly aware of what constitutes a medical emergency, and I wouldn't dream of taking up the doctor's time were it not the case.
Well, in that case, Dr. Woodson is on call, and she would be free to see you. She could call round in the next hour, say. Is that all right?
I would prefer to have Dr. Maguire if that were possible.
Well, as I said, Dr. Maguire is fully booked, so it's Dr. Woodson or nobody, I'm afraid.
Then Dr. Woodson it will have to be.
Fine, that's okay then. And if you do have any other problems in the meantime, please don't hesitate to call us, Mrs. Murchison.
Goodbye then. Oh, and it's Miss Murchison.
Figures.
Oh, hello. I'm here to see Miss...
Oh, I know who you come to see, dear. Or should that be doctor?
Oh, yes, Dr. Woodson.
You're far too fresh to be a doctor. Come on in, then.
Is everything all right, Miss Murchison? It's just the surgery says something about an emergency.
I'd hardly have called you out if it were otherwise.
Right, well, I'm glad to see you're feeling much better.
I'm perfectly well, thank you. You see, I didn't think it through. It isn't my heart that's faulty, it's my sister's.
Your sister's?
Enid. I'm assuming you've met, unless you broke in.
She didn't seem unwell.
I'm surprised you could see what she looks like at all under all that makeup.
I mean, she didn't mention it.
Well, I'm sure she doesn't know.
Doesn't know. Presumably you've talked about this?
Certainly not. My sister and I haven't spoken a word to each other in 18 years. So believe me when I say we're not about to start now.
I see.
No, you don't, but you will. I was about to make tea.
Oh, good. It's just about to start.
Well, I'm glad to see you chose to ignore my advice.
Well, it's my right. Beeson's the criminal here, not me. Anyway, I need to find out myself.
Ben, when I said I wouldn't advise you to come here, what I actually meant was don't come here. The court's going to be pretty empty. He's hardly going to fail to notice you. And strangely enough, we don't want a scene.
Okay, I get your point.
Court number 2 is now in session.
Here we go. All right, like I said before, if it makes you feel better, I'm happy to sit in. But you stay out here. Okay?
18 years is an awfully long time not to talk to someone, especially if they're your sister.
You'd be surprised how fast the time passes. And she's not just my sister, she's my identical twin.
Thank you.
90 seconds between us. Daddy called us his little Castor and Pollux.
The Celestial Twins.
There's two little stars, totally identical, at least on the surface. Of course, you'd never think to look at us now. She's become so fat. She wears all that makeup. But when we were young, Daddy was the only one who could tell us apart.
And that's what makes you think she's ill, some sort of twin telepathy?
Well, of course, I should have thought of it before, because it hasn't happened since we were 12. I had these inexplicable stomach pains, and I suggested it might be Enid, because it had happened before, you see. But Enid said she felt fine, and it was just Edwina, attention-seeking again.
You're right.
Yeah, right. 2 days later, her appendix ruptured. Not that anyone apologised for suggesting I was a malingerer. Oh, no, they were much too busy fussing over little Miss Pollyanna. She played the invalid for weeks.
I can see what you're saying, but if you were worried about your sister's health, then why didn't you call her doctor?
Enid won't have anything to do with conventional medicine.
So she's not registered with a GP?
Well, why bother when she can self-medicate? Calls herself a professional herbalist. Professional poisoner would be nearer the mark. It's a wonder she's lasted as long as she has. And the fact is, Dr. Woodson, if you fail to intervene, I fear she won't last much longer.
That's not quite the news I was looking for. I'll speak to you later, though. Thank you.
Is it bad news?
No, we were talking about another case. Beeson got 3 years. So will you relax now? Come on, let's get out of here. You can buy me lunch.
Hello, dear. Have you lost my sister? I don't think you'll find her in here.
Actually, Miss Murchison...
Enid.
Enid. Are you feeling unwell?
Oh, heartburn. I'm a slave to it, but more than qualified to treat it myself. No offence, dear.
Let me guess. Chamomile, licorice root and lemon balm?
You know your herbs.
Well, I try to keep up. Although I suspect compared to you, I'm a bit of an amateur.
You missed out slippery elm bark and catnip. I'll let you have the recipe if you like.
Yes, I would. Thank you. There was something else. I'm not quite sure how to put this. Your sister's concerned about your health.
My sister? I don't think so.
Well, she's worried you might be suffering from chest pain, breathlessness, maybe a heavy feeling in your arms as well.
How dare she?
She has explained the situation between you.
Then perhaps you'll understand if I ask you to leave now.
It's just that if you are suffering from any of these symptoms, it could indicate a heart condition.
Oh, there's a surprise. It's her favourite subject, if you did but know. I can only think she's going senile.
But Enid, I really need to examine you. Please, come on. Let me help you.
Well, what do you know? Hey, Doctor, you need to take notes, are you? This time next week, Amy, new braces, buddies. Share a taxi back home, nice and cosy, eh?
Ben, come on.
See you in court, Doc.
You were right. It was a heart attack. The ambulance is on its way.
She allowed you to examine her?
I've given her some aspirin, but she's still pretty poorly. But I guess you know that. I would need to examine you too.
We're wasting your time. It isn't real.
She's pretty frightened, understandably, considering her aversion to doctors. I was wondering if you'd like to go with her to the hospital.
I would not. I've done my duty by alerting you to her condition, and that's the end of it.
Surely that duty extends to the care that she receives. You know, I'm not saying for 1 second that the staff at St Phil's are anything less than 100% committed, but I don't have to tell you how far their resources are stretched these days, and, well, not everyone has standards as high as your own.
You're cleverer than I had you down for, Dr. Woodson.
Sarah's dad says she's not at home. There's no reply from her mobile, Helen's house. Sarah should know better than to leave us in the dark like this. I mean, what does it take to pick up a phone and tell us what's happening?
I couldn't.
Where on earth have you been?
Where one of you should have been. With Helen. All night. And I didn't get in before because I couldn't leave her on her own. I went round there last night after work and she's just completely disintegrated on me. I'm telling you, she's in a real state.
Poor Helen. It must be some kind of delayed reaction. I mean, she's barely skipped a beat since Jack died.
Mac, you've really got to have another word with her. You must insist she takes time off.
No. No. You're still not listening to me. Do I have to spell it out? I mean, she really, really lost it. And I did my best to cope with her, but I couldn't. Helen doesn't need time off. She needs help. Proper help. She needs a doctor.
Sarah, look, we are listening to you now. So tell us what happened.
Sticks and stones, mate. Just forget it.
Yeah, you were right. I shouldn't have gone.
No, you shouldn't.
Was he right? Could they put us in the same prison?
You're not going to prison.
If I'm found guilty, that means the jury doesn't believe in self-defense. And if they don't, why should a judge show any leniency?
The only person who has been found guilty is Andy Beeson, which is good for your case, so let's just be grateful for that.
In fact, no. It wasn't about seeing justice being done or anything like that. I wanted to see what it was like. Prepare myself for the worst.
Well, that's what I like to see, fighting spirit.
So what's the worst that can happen?
Oh, Ben.
Maximum sentence. Oh, come on, don't pretend you don't know.
Okay, if you insist on torturing yourself, it's 11 years. But that's in theory, and I stress in theory. But I promise you, Ben, it's not going to come to that.
I can't believe we didn't notice.
Yeah, well, I noticed. And I tried to tell you all, but no one listened to me because I'm just the receptionist, aren't I?
Oh, Sarah, you are so much more than just the receptionist.
I'll second that. You did a great job way beyond the call of duty. I'll get round there straight away.
I'm coming with you.
Hey, you must be exhausted.
The only place you're going, young lady, is home. You need to rest. Leave it with us now. You'll call her a cab, right? Make sure she gets back okay.
The hospital's got me down as your GP, at least temporarily, so I just thought I'd pop by and wish you luck for your up.
Oh, thank you, dear. You've been very kind.
Okay, well, before I go, is there anything that you'd like to ask?
Perhaps you could explain to my sister that an angioplasty is a very routine procedure with every likelihood of success.
Please tell my sister that the surgeon has already explained everything and that I'm not nearly as dim as she thinks.
Whatever happened was 18 years ago. Surely you could use this as an opportunity to erase the past.
I can't erase what she had carved on my father's headstone. It's the only time I got to choose anything over her. Adored father of Enid and Edwina. 90 seconds, Dr. Woodson. She may have been the favourite, but I am the elder.
Tell my sister she's getting muddled in her old age. Daddy didn't have a favourite. And if he did, she might want to remind herself which one of us was his little Miss Cleverclogs. I certainly wasn't the recipient of the expensive education.
If you tell her that she could have been if she hadn't wasted all her energy on trying to be popular.
I told you, going senile.
Tell her.
Helen? Helen? It's Mac.
Oh dear, that's the second passenger who hasn't paid me anything. Now I owe Dinah Doll sixpence as well. I really must find that bag and...
Mac, how did you get in?
The back door was ajar.
Phil's always nagging me about that. Don't worry, I know he's dead.
I can murder a cup of tea. Okay if I put the kettle on?
Reminder about the rose bush. The rose bush I planted on our father's grave and which she wrenched out at the roots.
It was diseased. And remind my sister, if you will, that Daddy didn't even particularly like roses.
And that's it. Look, I know it's not my place, but 18 years of silence over something that was written on a gravestone. Hurtful, I can see, but is it really unforgivable?
You can hardly be expected to understand.
And it isn't your place.
But it is my responsibility to ensure that you get proper care when you leave here.
You can assure my sister that she need have no worries on that score.
Maybe you could tell her yourself. Look, I don't doubt your medical skills for a second, but how can I expect you to nurse your sister when you won't even communicate with her? What are you going to do, write each other notes? A pair of you going to take up sign language?
Oh! How dare you speak to us like that?
I agree. Extremely impertinent.
If I have offended you, I apologise, but I do not take back what I've said. Would you look at yourselves? Grown women behaving like children. Have you not punished each other enough? Look, I'll be in touch to see how you're getting on. Bye, Enid. Miss Murchison.
Half my worldly possessions carted off to the charity shop, the rest stuffed in bin bags and dumped in the cellar. Oh, apart from an ancient bread maker. She's never even used it. Never even had it out of the box. But the minute I suggest throwing it out, she's up to her elbows in yeast. She wants the house to smell of fresh bed when people are being shown around. I don't think it had quite the desired effect, though. I thought the whole point of those things was that you couldn't burn the bread, but they hadn't reckoned on Julia.
I'm sorry for letting everyone down.
Come on, Helen, that's my line. I'm the one who did the letting down. I should have seen how you were feeling, and I didn't, and I'm really sorry. Now drink this, it'll do you good. Careful, it's hot. Careful.
Who's picking up the children?
Well, Claire's staying with Amy, and Daniel's got his school trip, remember? Helen?
Yeah. It hurts to think.
Then don't. Just try and rest. I can always give you something to help you sleep.
And then there was one.
Hmm?
I'm the only one left. Phil and Mike, Mark, Jack, the children. Sarah was here, but she's gone too. They all go.
Well, I'm not going anywhere. Come on. You don't need to worry about anything. I'm here now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Come on, Helen, come on. It's okay. Shh, it's okay.
The doctor, if you please, nurse. My sister's in pain.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mac, at last. How is she?
At the end of the tether. How did we miss this? My best friend has a breakdown and I don't notice.
Well, I think we've all got to share the blame for that, sweetheart.
There's something I need you to do. Helen's sister Louise, could you dig a number out of the file? I'm presuming that she's next of kin and she needs to know what's going on.
I just can't believe this is Helen we're talking about. She always seems so strong. And those poor children, as they haven't been through enough.
Yeah, look, you'll get back with a number, hmm?
Yes, straight away. Mac, she's going to be all right, isn't she?
I'll make sure she is.
A reminder, if you're a digital viewer, you can press red now for coverage of the French Open tennis, the women's second semi-final, starting shortly. Here on BBC1, Murder in Court next with a crooked lawyer in Diagnosis Murder.